Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at techtrader.com. It's Saturday, the 17th of September. This is the weekend webinar. Well, another eventful week. The markets had a pretty good hit, to say the least. A little bounce on Friday was, I'm not sure, meaningful, but we'll see what results. Let's take a look at some of the indices and underlying technicals, and you'll get an idea. So far, we've had a 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is a truncated fifth, or we're going down there, meaning if we get a big fifth wave down, and we take the lows out, which right now are key, I would say supporting the S&P is about 37.42, and then the ultimate low at 36.36. Take out of that level, you're looking at 35.70, and way down there at 32.70. So I'm not saying we're going down there, but there's a possibility that before they end this, they have to plunge it or wipe it out and get a selling climax. So we'll see. Doesn't have to be that way. It's the S&P 500, which was down 28 or 0.7% on Friday. NVDA similar, of course. It's come down in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a truncated or shortened fifth wave so far, but support was broken. You can see the NASDAQ 100 just in the last month has dropped from 13,720 to Friday's low at 11,700. So 2,000 points down in the last month. It's taken us down around 15%, and at the lowest level since mid-July. There is a support zone down there, but for you guys who are looking at it, 11,300 is support. Friday's low is important. We take out 1170, we could see 400-point plunge. That's the ominous look of it, and what's really important to me is that the moving average at 50-day was broken, retested, moving average. The rollover moving averages cross over, we're going down, or at least we're going lower until this thing reverses. The trend is down. Same with the S&P, below the 50 and a gap down below it on Tuesday. Look at the transportation index. You can see it really plunged last week, even a much bigger loss, losing 5% on Friday, 5% with a big gap down. But for the week, 14.3. 1,300 points, massive drop, about 9% for the week for the transportation index. And you can see they're at the July low now, or right about it. So we either double bottom here, or we'll get a 1, 2, 3, 4 big fifth wave that gets it down to about 11.7. So if everything does bomb out in the next day or two, look for those levels. What about the small caps? Well, they're not under no illusion that they are going to go lower, but not as bad a drop. And you can see that lateral price support for the last 4 months. It's kind of right at Friday's low, about 176.7. But it did drop from 180, almost 190 to 176 and change. So pretty bad drop last week, but not as bad as for example, transportation way below its support, at secondary support. The S&P broke support, lateral price support, at trendline support. And the NDX also at support. Excuse me, that's the IWM. Yeah, so NDX and S&P have slightly broken support, but they're at trendline support. This is kind of a key area. The next day or two are going to be very important for the markets. Let's look at the underlying technicals. Well, the McClellan oscillator Butterfingers today. There you go. McClellan oscillator, which exploded from minus 247. Got to plus almost 196. And then dropped dramatically last week with a couple of gaps too. Got as low as minus 127, bounced to close at minus 90, but still, that was only in the last half hour or so. At the lower end of the range, in a oversold zone, but not deep, steep enough, in my opinion, yet. It means we might still get a day or two down before we end this short-term drop. The percentage of stocks above their 40 have dropped dramatically. As early as a month ago, as recent as a month ago, this thing was 80 some odd, the highest level reached since last November. That rolled over hard to get down to 20. 1997 was a low from over 80. So a pretty big drop out of stocks. A lot of stocks, the majority of stocks, 4 out of 5 as a matter of fact, are below their 40 for now. The VIX still not getting to a panic point, although it did get up to a new nominal new high of 28.45. That's the highest level reached since early July. Still nothing dramatic here, not yet. Which also leads me to believe this might spike at some point into the low to mid 30s. You get the oscillators down to the 250, 300 range, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get a big negative tick and a panic sell-off that could set up a dramatic rally back. We'll see. I'm going to take a look, obviously, at the major components right now of the NASDAQ 100, and you'll see some of the precariousness of those market leaders. Now, Apple, for example, has dropped 176 to 148, 28 points, about 18% just in the last month. Big volume here. But Friday was quadruple witching, so with options expiration as well. Apple's getting to a point now where any further damage, you're going to see 146.7, 142.3, maybe as low as 139 or worse down here. We just have to see what they want to do with Apple. But it's a bit short-term oversold and at the bottom of the channel. Amazon, same. Three-wave pullback to the trend line. Lateral price support. You can see that it's below the 50-day moving average. So at this point, we're having dropped from 146.5 to 120. It's at some key support, or just I would say 119 is just below here support, but it did bounce to 123.5, and there's a bit of a gap to fill too. So don't be fooled by any bounce early on Monday. We'll have to just see if there's, I prefer obviously going down first before we reverse. And then Google, along with Meta, are leading the market lower. Look at we're right at the May low and taking out a triple bottom prior to that quadruple bottom. So Google does any further damage here, it's going to really hurt the market. This is vulnerable, in my opinion, down to 90 plus or minus a couple points. While we're on the subject, Meta is, formerly Facebook, of course, has dropped from 384 to 146. Incredible 240-point drop. And still, just breaking down here, it looks like it's a tough call, but from this breakdown, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fifth wave down. So I wouldn't be shocked to see 135 on it. What happens, and you get some of the others to break down, you could get some sort of selling climax, at least short term. NVDA, no difference, but it did have a bounce on Friday, although the target right now is, believe it or not, 110-12 range, maybe 115. If it breaks out Friday's low. So you take out 126, you may look for a big drop. That's why I'm concerned, because the precariousness, look at all of these charts. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth wave's underway, but has it bottomed yet? Well, long-term support. NVIDIA, 115. We'll just have to see what it does. Microsoft, pretty weak. It's dropped from 295 down to 244. It's at the June lows as well, and it's now headed, at least appears to be. If we break this double bottom, it's actually a triple bottom if you go back here. 1, 2, 3 lows in here. We crack that down to the bottom of the channel, lateral price support, 231 next. That's 13 points more. So we're either going to bounce right here or come down. And that's why I'm worried about the next day or two on the market. Tesla, on the other hand, is showing a relative strength right up against key resistance. And if we can get above 312.13, this thing could be 350.55. But any rollover here, you see that there is some decline resistance in that zone for sure. Your major support now is 260.65 and then 250. Let's look at some of the NASDAQ 100 components. Let's take a look at some of the ETFs we follow. The SMH, or semiconductors, carries looking as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth wave's come down. That was if it's truncated or shortened. And we have it bounced in this area, which is from that extended V bottom with the right-hand extension. That low there was, let's see, 199 and change. The low Friday, 199 and change. It's almost an exact double bottom on SMH, or it's a temporary bounce and it goes lower. The TQQQ looking very similar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's an ETF for the QQQs as well. A little higher lows, just a little. Financials. Financials are on the brink of a rollover collapse, which could lead the market lower. Take a look. So we have a couple lows in here back in May. We have platform support here. Pullback lows there. All of that around 67.5. The low on Friday, 67.82. So we either bounce here on all these indices and do it dramatically, or they're going to crack them. And if they crack them on the financials, we're probably looking at 56.7. It's a big drop from here. That could really hurt the market. And finally, obviously, my biotechs indices are starting to weaken. The LABU, which just a month ago was 13, has dropped down under 8. Recent lows were 783.85. The lows back here are 765. So this 765.85 zone is some key support for LABU. If not, we crack there, we're probably going to 6.5, even 5 on a disaster market drop. And looking at the XBI, also biotech index, you'll see looking like the bottom of the channel, lateral support down here. You cannot let this go under 78 because then it collapses. So I'm concerned about everything I'm looking at. Nothing gets me excited. Not here. I mean, I like, you know, certain charts like Netflix and Tesla, but other than that, everything else looks lousy to me in the NASDAQ 100 among the generals. So we look at some of the other ETFs, the gold, silver, oil, etc. The oil ETFs are looking precarious. I've been telling you, I think oil comes lower this year. And you can see a massive head and shoulders type top. If the USO cracks 67, go short because this thing could plunge into the mid-50s pretty quickly. But it is possibly also a wedge. Can't tell. If you look at the long-term trend line, you'll see that it looks like a violation here, a kiss back, and maybe a rollover underway. Be very cautious on oil, folks. I see a lot of individual stocks, which you'll see later, that don't look very good. And keeping that in mind, drip, forming a little base, should it break out the DRIP over 1735, we might see a run on that. And SCO, my favorite, big base pattern is formed, very similar to the inverse of the USO, which shows a head and shoulder top, kind of an inverse head and shoulder bottom. Gonna need a break through the neckline that's over 28.75 or thereabout, and the stock starts to rip with a target in the mid 30s. That could be an interesting ETF swing if oil breaks. Gold, I don't know. I continue to ask everybody in this room, why would you be interested in gold? There's nothing there yet now. It looked like a reverse Friday, but it came off of a bounce off a low. So I'm not sure yet. In one day, there's not a trend make. Look at the J node. It was actually down, although it bounced on Friday. It was down a small fraction. So the nugget. These gold ETFs aren't doing anything yet. Gold, a little double bottom and nugget with a bounce. Good buy them. So maybe, just maybe, we're looking at a bottoming pattern, but until we actually get one, I mean, this looks like a bottoming pattern. This did too. So I'm just going to say we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave decline with a retest. That's why it looks promising. But until I see some of these ETFs take out the prior high above 29.30 in that area on the nugget, I'm not going to get too excited. A lot of stocks to talk about. Let's go over them. And by the way, silver looks the same. AGQ, little reversal there. This looks a little better than gold does. So I'm looking for AGQ to take out 23 with energy. You should see 25.5 to 27, maybe to 30. If in fact that is your declining tops line and we get that taken out. Now notice the moving averages appear to be intending to cross over. If that happens and we take out 23.08, I think we got a good shot on AGQ of a decent trade. Pan American Silver, just nothing there. And that's a leader in the industry, so is Wheaton. But I want to see lateral price resistance taken out first. Okay, got a lot of stocks to talk about. Not as many as I would like, but we do. Let's go. Look at the move on Friday on AAOI. This is a stock that was trading way up in 100 range. It took it down $1 and change. No kidding, really, almost a 100% loss. $1.48, folks. I believe the high was 99 or something. 103. 103 to $1.50. Pop, wedge, and breakout with a big breakaway move on 77 million shares and a closing of the upper end of the range. The kind of action you see in important bottoms. Just keep an eye on this one. Going forward, your targets are 4.5 and 6.5. ADN. Now, Advent Technologies in the utility sector exploded in June, coiled for a couple months, broke out Friday. Friday popping about 12%. Buying picked up to about 2.9 million. Looks like a stock that might make a run at 4.25 and then maybe 5. AEHR, wonderful move in the last week and a half. Took it from 13, spiked it to 1770, but the Friday it pulled back $1.36, like a lot of stocks did. So, but if it is able to reestablish the trend, it's going to have to kind of take down this wedge that's big wedge that's developing. If it does that, we can see mid-20s. AKRO breakaway move and a big one. 3-day pullback, holding the gap so far. Could be interesting, targeting 29.30 or better. AMLX breakaway gap and a wedge forming as well. Don't let it get under 27. Targeting 33 and 38. ANIX, a diagnostic research firm that broke out of a wedge and exploded on Friday. Up $1.23 at 27%. Look, it's thinly traded. It's only 630,000 shares, but it is the biggest bond since last May. And if it's at resistance here, so a breakout here could lead to a spike into the 7.8 zone. ANNX, look at this biotech stock. What a beautiful rising channel. I wanted to show it to you. No reason why I can't continue. ANVS, yet another. Literally went vertical from 10 to 24. Pull back Friday. Let's let it back and fill and consolidate a little bit, but it's a beautiful breakout of long-term downtrend. APRN was a nice swing for us. We're going from 4 3/4 to 8 1/4. Big pullback last week. So I'm not happy with that at all. To me, it's broken the trend line, and it's probably going to test support around the 4.5 3/4 range. ARQQ exploded. We put a swing on it. It really got up to target number 1 at about 9. Pull back. Let it back and fill for a few days as well. Next target 10 and then 12 or 13. AXGN, another medical device biotech stock. Beautiful base. I wanted to show you how this thing looks like it's about to emerge. And if it does, it could spike into the mid-teens. AXSM, breakaway gap, swing, pullback retest, explode, get to a secondary target, tags almost 72, and now it's wedging. Unfortunately, it's pulled back on Friday, 249, and it's right out of support, so you don't want to let this one break down. Be careful. However, 1, 2, 3, 4, you may get a 5th wave if the market cooperates. BCAB, another little biotech stock I never heard of. Went public a year and change ago, year and a half ago, and it went down almost 2 years ago. It dropped from 76 to 2. Based out, broke out, and now look at that coil. Measure move on this one. Believe it or not, mid-teens, 16, 17. Bluebird Bio, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, breakout wedge. We put a swing on it, it popped, and then pulled back hard on Friday. Bottom line is, your stop is right there. You cannot let it go on 5.5. If it breaks out above that zone, we're looking at 11-12. CANO, nice base formed. And when it broke out, I put a swing on it, put it back right off. Let's keep an eye on it and see if it can hold support around 6. CEIX and the coal stocks are pulling back. BTU is starting to look really bad. CEIX starting to deteriorate, but it's still in a beautiful rising channel, holding support. Any breakdown on the 54.5 would be a takeout. COGT, another fantastic biotech with a breakaway gap, a wedge, a pop, a coil, and another breakout. So in essence, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way move, now the pullback. If it can hold here, you still have a shot at 20 or 22. Coupang broke out, we put a swing, it popped and formed a flag and exploded to the target. Hit secondary target at 21 and change. Then it pulled back and coiled. It broke out again. But this one's going to have to show me you can get through 1885 to really get going. Targeting 21 and 24. Dawn, breakaway gap on another biotech. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth wave has pulled it back to the trend line. And a little disconcerting because that pattern may have broken down. Be careful. DGII, beautiful long-term breakout, quadruple top, exploded, and it's wedged, coiled, broke out, and it came right back down. Friday was triple witching, so I'm going to discount that volume, but if it continues, this 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave could take you into the low to mid 40s. DraftKings, put a swing on it when it broke out. It reached target number 1 and pulled back to the trend line, moving average and lateral price support, and popped again. Very nice action. Targeting 21, 24.5. DYN, another biotech stock with a strong surge and a pullback, pop, and another pullback retest. Almost looks like an inverse head and shoulders. Hard to tell where this can go, but I would have a target now if it gets through here, around 23. ELF, boy, look at ELF beauty. Breakaway move, wedge, pop, flag, rising flag. Looking very strong here, folks. This could be a $48 stock. ENVX, another electronic biotech type stock. This showed a base, a breakaway gap, a large consolidation. Looked like a wedge broke out. It got right up to the highs again and backed off Friday. And he moved to the triple top of 26, and you're looking at 30, maybe even mid 30s. EPOW, a personal holding of mine, exploded and is wedging. Takes this out. This move may be duplicated. That's 190 to 448, about 2.5 points. At least, I think, $5.40 is my target, $5.50, something like that right there. Secondary target, 6.5. ESPR, another biotech that got crushed from the 80s all the way down to 3 and change. Now in an uptrend, broke through a triple top as they got a flag for me, see? Next target 9 and 11. ENTB, yet another, exploded last week and pulled back. Filling partially the gap, but testing the prior high. When to watch. I'll target 7 3/4 and 9. EVEX, look at this chart. Talk about volatility. Inverse head and shoulders, maybe. Resistance up here, for sure. Wanted to show you that this went from 6 to 12 and doubled in a week. Needs to pull back and consolidate likely. Ford, well, Ford was given to as a swing when it broke out here and the moving averages crossed over. Then it went next to my target zone and it's pulled back. Right now it's flagging. That's what that looks like. Even call it a maybe falling wedge. But if you do a measure move, about 6 points, you're looking at 2021 up here. Foot Locker broke through the trend line, spiked, falling wedge. Now it's got a larger wedge, and you can see that it get through this triple top here, and we're right on it. You might see a move into the high 40s. FLNC, V bottom, platform, breakout, little wedge, pop flag. It looks so good. The only thing missing is better volume, but it's certainly thin enough. that it can extend into the mid to high 20s. FREY, wow, look at the multiple spike, 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 spike. Again, up here. Can we get through? Hard to say, but it's overbought. First Solar, love the stock. Breakaway gap, flag, no brainer, swing trade. 96 to 140. Now flagging, holding up very well. The Solar Group doing excellent. Target 150, 175. FTCH broke out, a big breakaway move, a big volume, and I put a swing on it, but it immediately backed off. And right now, it's consolidating, kind of in a wedge pattern. Here's what it looks like. So we need to see whether this can pop back above 12 before you get excited. Then your target's 15. FUBO, explosion, literally took it from 240 to about 820. Came down hard and did about a 0.746 Fib retracement and then back up again. It's a little funky in here, but it's going to have to hold, in my opinion, 440 and then take out 530. If so, target 7. FUTU looked real good until Friday when it broke this little platform, so I'm concerned. The overall pattern is a nice, long, multi-month base, but it's going to have to push up with some volume. Careful on this one. HDSN, what a beautiful chart. 3-year chart has taken this from 30 cents to almost $11. Over the last few weeks, it's been doing this, consolidating here, unable to get back above the 11-15 range. Once it does that, though, you're looking at 15. HLIT exploded on Thursday and Friday, followed through with a nice move, so it's kind of literally in 2 days from 1060 to 12. And it's at key resistance, so breakout here, we're headed for 14. IFRX, like this biotech stock, long downtrend, V bottom, platform, coil, breakout, big one, run up to the target, falling wedge, breakout, little mini wedge. If and when it gets up through 3.25, you might see 4 and 5. IMRA, breakaway move, explosive and a wedge. If and when it takes out resistance up there, probably looking at a $3.5 to $4.5 stock. INVZ, base breakout, falling wedge, right to support and pop. I like the look of it. This is a tech trader swing as well. If it gets to 6.25, I'm looking for 7.75. ISSC just literally went vertical 594 to 915. Pullback is wedging. I'm a guessing man. I think it gets up there first, near 10. KMPH, another biotech, a long downtrend. Popped out Thursday, inside day Friday. Keep an eye on it. Targeting 7.25 and 8. LNTH has been one of the best stocks on the board in a year and a half. Has gone from 10 to 80, 87. The pullback is testing support. It's in a beautiful uptrend, but it's going to have to get back above 86.7 to make it to triple digits. LTHM and Lithium Group, this is the strongest stock in the group. LAC is fine too, but I like the way this stock is popped. Under 20, 36.50, pullback. There's resistance up here, but look at the long-term chart. Acts like a stock that wants to be my target high 40s. Nexion, base, breakout wedge, popped, I put a swing on it. It's extending. Target 33. MRSN, beautiful biotech with a 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that flag, similar to that. Next target, 10.5. MYOB, V bottom, platform, breakout, flag, pop, little wedgie. Boy, some of these biotechs look so good. Now you know why LABU and XBI are promising. Although, look, they're all extended. And it could be pulled back if the market comes back. NARV, yet another, explode, implode. And then virtually go vertical. This one from 3 to 15, now a wedge. Notice the low volume pullback here. Do not let this one go underneath 8.5, but move over 11.75 could yield 15 or better. NEO disappointingly pulled back, and some of these electric vehicle stocks from China, which looked so good, suddenly turned real negative the last couple of days. So careful with this one. But I like the overall base pattern. Mechanics, Exploded, pulled back, I put a little swing on it. It's moved up a little bit. You can see resistance is 23 3/4. We get through it. I'm looking for 26.5 and 28 3/4. On semiconductor with an explosive move. Early July, 44 3/4. To late August, 76 3/4. What a move. Now the wedge. The stop's under 65. The target is 75, 77, and then 85, 87. Up to noise. Another biotech with a big drop. Exploded, and now look at this platform for 3 months. It goes, we're looking at 5, 5.5. ORA. Oramat. Breaks the base, forms a beautiful little wedge. Feels like it's going higher, doesn't it? Looks like it. Targeting 110. Oxy, well, folks, an example of a stock that I loved for a long time, as you know, for a couple of years, from single digits to the 70s. In 77, reversed 15 points, and it's on the trend line near it. Just worried about anything in the oil sector. PACB exploded, falling wedge, pop, pull back, now a little mini left shoulder, head right shoulder. Neckline's key, $7.17. Get through that, and you're on your way to 9. Seguro broke out. We put a swing on it and pulled right back and formed a wedge. I don't want any damage under 14 is a stop for me. Over 17.5, you're going to see 19.5 and 22.5. Duo, nice flag developing, and a B bottom with a platform and a pop. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this looks like 1 and 2 of 5. You may see 3, 4, and 5. You get this one up to 100. Perion, real solid, almost 1 year long coiling type pattern. I needed though over 23.5, 24 to get it going. So it targets 27 and 30. Planet Labs is a beautiful rounding bottom at resistance. It exploded through it and pulled back. Keep an eye on this pattern. The Maximum fills here. It could be a $8, $9 stock. PLRX, Pliant Therapeutics with a breakaway gap and a coil is maybe breaking out. Resistance at target is 27 at 35. Plug. Breakaway gap, ran up to resistance once, twice, almost 3 times and pulled back. I think it's fine unless it breaks here. It should stop at 25. Over 31, we're going long for 36 and 40. PRPH. Nice base breakout, got up to the prior high, pulled back, popped, and now it's got a big wedge for me. It popped 8% Friday in a lousy market, so this is intriguing. To me, retesting 15 and going into the high teens is a possibility. Rivian, much better than Lucid, but it did pull back on pretty good volume. Nevertheless, recently, 30.5 to nearly 40.5, 10 points. Double top there. Need to get through it. If so, your target is 45 and 50. Solar stocks continue strong. Sunrun breaks out. There's a breakaway gap. Wedges, pops, and flags. Target 47. Revance. Pop, wedged, exploded. It's wedging again. Bit of a falling wedge. It does look like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I counted it in a different way. When you break them out, you now need to probably consolidate, which is doing. Keep an eye on it though, above 20, above 30, you're looking at 33, 34. Reviva, RVPH, another biotech that exploded literally from $0.50 to $3, 6-fold, and pulled back, and it's got a beautiful little coil development. Tried to break out Thursday, Friday. Good technicals. Target, 1.75. Rhythm Pharmaceuticals, one of my best swings this year, from about 4.75 to 5 range, 27, and then flagging. It dropped out, it backed off of the market. Still looks higher to me, high 30s, low to mid 40s. Seed, nice pop on Friday, needs volume, but it was up 9%. Get through this zone, 12.5, 14, and 17, all targets. Sigma Lithium, SGLT, ML is one of the stronger lithium stocks besides LTHM. But after a 5-wave advance to the top of the channel on big volume on Friday, be careful. Snow, nice base breakout. This was a tech trader swing here when it broke out. It did very well and went from about 140 to 200, pulled back. Still looks pretty good to me. SPWR, second largest solar stock behind it. First Solar, breakaway gap, run up, pull back and retest support, pop and form a little wedgie or flag. I think we can see 29.5 and 33.5, 34. SRTS, loved it, relative strength in the stock. Broke out of, and by the way, this is a personal position just established last week. 3-wave corrected falling wedge and breakout. And should this get above 15.20, I'm looking for 19 quickly. STEM breaks out of a wedge, breakaway gap, runs up and forms a flag and pops out. Target 20. The ETF for the solar group TAN breaks out of a base with a breakaway gap and platforms. Your next target for me is 100. Turn, another biotech that broke out with a spike up and a 3-wave corrected flag, and then another spike up. It took them right up to this resistance zone there. So it may need to consolidate again, but I think it can extend. My target's going to be 11. PH, beautiful chart. Pop, flag, pop, flag. If it gets one more, we might see low 20s. TMDX, engulfing reversal bar bottom, 10 to mid 50s in about 6 months. Consolidating right here. It holds. Look at the high 60s. Uber, I gave that to you when it broke out. It's extended nicely, then it backed off Friday. That was a breakout Thursday, though. We'll have to see if this is able to consolidate in that zone and move up. My next targets are 37, 40, and 44. Varu, looking great here. It really was a good swing for us, but boy, did it get smacked back hard. They had some results. Wall Street sold the news to 24.5, all the way down to 10 and change before the bounce. Close-up shows maybe a little inverse head and shoulders type forming here. I'll show it to you on a 15-minute chart. See what I mean? Left shoulder head and maybe a right shoulder here, but the neckline's key. If you're in Varu over 16, you're going long for a move into the 18.75, 20 zone. Alcon, a low price stock that popped, pulled back, popped again. It's forming a wedge in here. I like the potential. You remember that exploded on big news, very big news, and so I think this is a setup. Targeting 3 3/4, 4.5, and 6. Wolf, this is formerly Cree. What a beautiful rising pattern, and then a breakaway gap and a beautiful consolidation. Look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is resistance. But if this gets to 123.4, we're looking at 140 or more. And I showed you XPI earlier. And Zixi, nice steady rising channel, not getting too far ahead of itself. A flag pattern for a month now. Your next target, 11.5, and possibly 14, 15 if it accelerates with volume. Let's look at the longs. There are some shorts to take a look at, and then I'll be done for today. A line right has been a tech trader short since it broke down from the bear flag. Formed another bear wedge there, another bear flag there, a larger one there, and right now you can see that if it breaks this double bottom now to 235, could be headed to 185. Careful. Amberella, hidden shoulder top breakdown, and it's got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, and now consolidating. But it's back down near support, and if it breaks 60, the stock could be in the 40s. CDNA, a large, long declining channel continues. Next target, 14. BRR is in a consolidation that could be a bear flag or mini base, but if it cracks, you might see this one implode in half from 32 to about 15, 16. GRMN, bear flag, rising wedge there, flag, and then you can see the downtrend continues. I have a target now in the mid 70s. MED, also a tech traded swing when it broke down from the bear flag. It's kept going lower. It's still going lower. On support here, but a further break here could lead all the way down to the mid 80s. Novavax, large declining pattern continues. It looks very weak. I have a target of 23 in that area. Overstock consolidating for 4 or 5 months. If this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe a fifth wave could take you to high teens. PNR, been a bearish pattern ever since the top broke down. Bear wedge, mini bear wedge, bear flag, and lower she goes. Mid-30s target. QDEL has been in the bearish channel for 2 years now and continues to look lower. It's already dropped from 275 in the 80 range, and yet I think you could see 65. Robert Half has been a traded swing since it broke down here in the 99 range. It made it down into the low 70s, and it's bear flagging. Next target, 68 and low 60s. SITM, very bearish, but near support. Keep an eye on it. If it cracks here, it could really get hammered. Shutterstock, another bear flag appears to be breaking right there. And a move below 50 could yield low to mid 40s. Trex in a big downtrend from the bear wedge broke down. It's barely holding on to support. Next target, mid 30s. DTEC, been in a bearish trend for a year, continues to break down. Lateral price support around the low 40s could be your target. Upward, bear flag, bear wedge, another big one, and then a breakdown. If it breaks here, we're going down. I kid you not, 11, 12 might be a target. It's funny, where Cobia is being worked over. This is a ugly looking top. This is a large either basing pattern or bearish consolidation. Just keeping it short because of the continuation pattern tells me that it could be 54.5 short term. Let's look at the technicals and the indicators and the underlying technicals for the market. And you can see that the longs and shorts as well. It's a very, very complete description of everything you'll need to know for next week. Please review this and be prepared because next week's going to be maybe an eventful one. This is HB signing off. Have a great weekend, everybody.